Hello, my name's Dr. Tina Ray. I'm an educational and child psychologist, and today I want to share with you my time to rest plan, which I hope will be useful, helpful at this current time. We're approaching Easter, and for many of us who work in education, social care, we'll be having some time off, and certainly for our teaching staff, our support staff in schools at this current time, this is really important that we begin to think about how we're going to actually rejuvenate over this period of time and regain our energy. So the plan is as presented here. I'm going to take each one of these in turns. So I have one slide per section here that I'm going to read through for you and give you some of my kind of thoughts around these, each one. So the first one, T, taking and making time to rest. We know that this is absolutely essential right now because all of us, to some extent, are going to be experiencing ongoing anxieties around the whole pandemic, navigating our way through it and continuing to do so, given that we are currently expecting a third wave in the UK. And I think it's really vital that we actually really do allocate timetable in this time to rest, because otherwise we're going to have this, what I call a rest deficit, and that can be incredibly unhealthy and ultimately lead to burnout for many of us. What's important is to distinguish, in my view, between sleep and rest. Very often we think that getting a good night's sleep is enough, and that's what this is about. Sleep is rest. And in actual fact, they are not the same thing, and many of us confuse them. We can have a great deal of sleep, but when we're anxious and we're overwrought and we're continually hypervigilant, which many of us are in these current times, very often that means that we wake up feeling absolutely exhausted. We don't actually feel the benefit of having a longer or so-called good sleep. Alton Smith is seminal in this particular area, and she talks about this concept of real rest and says that when we're suffering from this kind of rest deficit because we don't understand the true power of rest, it's really important that we reflect on what this really is. She says that rest should equal restoration in 7 key areas of our lives. So we're thinking about what we do physically to ensure that we rest appropriately, what we do mentally to actually prevent ourselves from going into that cognitive overload or going down the route of negative automatic thinking on a continual basis. What do we do in terms of regaining sensory awareness for ourselves and gaining some sensory peace, creatively, emotionally, socially, and spiritually? How do we ensure that all of these needs, these 7 key areas of our lives, are really met appropriately in terms of a timetable for rest? So we need to examine really how much physical rest we really do get on a daily basis, but thinking about how this can be both passive and active. So that includes sleep. So how many hours do I sleep? But also what else do I do during the day to gain that sense of physical peace in my body, in my mind as well? So it might be stretching, yoga, any kind of activity that engenders that kind of physical rest. We also need to factor into our thinking the need to take time out mentally so that we have those kind of short breaks every couple of hours in the working day where we just simply stop, we pause, and we slow down. Even, at night time, sometimes we're going to bed now and we're worrying and we're concerned about things. Just have a notepad at the side of the bed to write down any of those kind of thoughts that come into your head, things that you're worried about that keep preying on your mind, so that it's there, it's done. It's almost like you can shelve it. You can go back and you can sort it the next day, but it gives you that sense of peace that you've actually put that to one side. Otherwise, those thoughts can really keep us awake. And also thinking about our overload in terms of sensory needs. This is really, really important. Many of us are working far more online at the moment. We're much more surrounded by technology in many areas. We're frequently on those Teams calls, those Zoom meetings, etc., etc. So many more conversations that we're having. And also, whereas previously we might have been traveling to deliver a training course, we might have been traveling to do an assessment on a child or a meeting. Now we're doing this all virtually. So we're also timetabling much more in. The days seem to be busier, even though we're not having the stress of actually getting somewhere. So I think really, really important important. Just take time out by doing simple grounding, visualization, deep breathing exercises, just so that we're really intentionally taking those minutes during the day to unplug from the social media that can be so overwhelming, and particularly important at the end of the working day. Also, think about resetting your daily plan so that you include moments of what I call creative rest. I think this is absolutely vital. Martin Seligman talks a lot about these flow moments, these moments in our lives on a daily basis where we are in the moment. We don't notice time going past. And it's usually because we're engaged in something creative or physical that's just taking us out of ourselves. So just stopping regularly on a simple level to pause, to listen to that wee bit of music, something that's happy, chirpy, that lifts our spirits, or just surrounding ourselves or the work area that we're working in with lovely images, things that make us feel peaceful, engender happy memories. Just taking a few minutes to step outside if it's a sunny day with a mug of tea and just stop and think and pause. Emotional rest is what gives us the time and space to really express how we feel and reduces our level of people pleasing, that we've got to be on it all the time. We've got to actually meet other people's needs. We need to stop and just become much more emotionally rested, thinking about how I'm feeling at this moment in time and being truthful with ourselves. Actually, I'm not okay. It's okay not to be okay. And remember this, and just actually find that person, that individual that we know we can share those worries with. Quick phone call, quick conversation, but just to actually say, I'm not feeling too good. Help me out here. Social rest is also needed. And I think this is really important when we get into this kind of muddle about the relationships that we have, and those that really do revive us and those that suck us dry, they knacker us, they exhaust us. Really important to experience more social rest. And that means really being quite strict with ourselves about the amount of time that we spend with those people who are not supportive or positive. We need to be really thinking about that now, surrounding ourselves with people who really do nurture us and we reciprocate that nurturing and love. Also taking time to connect beyond the physical and mental. It's the final essential when we're talking about real rest here. And spiritual rest is achieved when we just take that time out to engage with something bigger than ourselves and gain that deeper sense, I think, of belonging, love, acceptance, purpose. The purposeful life, the life of meaning, is Martin Seligman's top priority. And I think now we need to be thinking much more clearly to ourselves about what we're actually here for, what we're doing, how we can regain our sense of hope and inner peace so that we can share that with others. Very, very important. It doesn't have to be prayer. If you're not a spiritual person in the sense of you have allegiance to a specific religion, we can actually gain that sense of spiritual peace by being in nature, by connecting with the world around us and the beauty that we see in it. Ultimately, we have to keep working on this in order to maintain real rest in our lives and to sustain it on a daily basis. To get that balance right, we have to make sure that we really put the effort in. It doesn't happen by magic, but it's really worth thinking about now at this time when we may be coming to the end of a school term. We're approaching an Easter holiday where many of us will be having some kind of downtime, some kind of break, to stop, pause and reflect. Are we really engaging in this real rest? We need to achieve this now. It's essential because we all need it. So here's the plan. Please, please, please do follow me on Twitter. You can download this. I'm always sharing these things on a regular basis. So this is something that you can make use of yourselves and share with others. And thank you very much for listening. And I hope you join me next time when I deliver another one of these wee webinars.